Boards don't always want to cooperate. It's not like plastic where you can cut it exactly the way you want it, and there aren't any knots or cracks or weird things like that. When you're dealing with boards, they all have their own little imperfections. It's like dealing with people and all their little eccentricities. You have to figure out how to navigate all that. People don't understand how long it takes to build a chair. With parenting, it's similar to woodworking. There has to be that patience. When I was in grad school, I started buying some hand tools and things like that. I needed something to do, something with my hands to help keep my sanity. When we got married, I started to take the woodworking a little more seriously. Anna initially thought it was just a hobby, but more and more tools were being bought and more furniture was being built. 6 months in, we decided to dive in and do it full time. So I quit school and we started a woodworking business.
Our parents played a big role. They were some of our first customers and biggest supporters, but they were nervous when I said, Geoffrey's going to quit school and we're going to do woodworking full time.
You know, I've been in graduate school for a long time and all of a sudden I'm going to stop and do this other thing.
But we kind of had to tell our parents, well, he raised us this way, to value our family and our faith and to put that first. Our parents came around, but in the moment, they were definitely nervous.
My first shop was in the basement where my parents lived and they had to listen to the machines all the time. They would stay up till 1 in the morning, sometimes helping me finish a table. And this fresh start allowed her to start her own vocation as a writer. Lingering in the back of my head was a desire to do woodworking on the religious side.
We came to the conclusion that maybe we were actually supposed to just do it. We actually needed to pursue it and use the gifts that we have as a couple to address the issue and make beautiful things that speak to the dignity of the people who use them and that glorify God.
There were definitely times when it felt like we just ran into these difficulties every step of the way.
Learning how to be married, having kids, starting a small business, writing a book, but in everything we were in it together.
It was sink or swim together.
There was no second plan.
We were all in.
That's what made it possible.
So we just had to trust that it would work out, and it did. Keating Woodworks grew and became more and more established. And then recently, Sacred Heart, a local parish, came to me to see if I could help out with the restoration they were starting. And that slowly evolved into me doing all the woodworking elements in the space. So that's what we're doing. It's the current project we're on now, and it's the first we hope of more. The whole project itself will go 1.5 years from start to finish.
That's one difference with handmade furniture, is you have to be patient. It takes a little more time. I think the most exciting thing for me about building a church is that it's for everybody. With most art, it belongs to a wealthy collector, or it sits in a vault. But with the church, it belongs to the laborer, the poor man, the homeless person, the wealthy CEO. It's everybody's church. Everybody gets to encounter the beauty that's there. And beauty is a human need and a human right. And I love the idea that this is going to be a home for everybody, where people will baptize their children and get married and bury their dead. That they have a right to this place of beauty, this repository of faith, and that it speaks to and tells their story, which is the story of God, God's story.
When I was in grad school and I was on the academic track, and the plan was to become a professor, I was reading a couple books by this guy, Peter Morin, who was a Catholic worker. He wrote about laborers needing to become scholars and scholars needing to become laborers, and he was inspired by St. Francis, who said we should do things for others, we should build things with our hands for others. And I realized that's what I wanted to do.
It's hard to give advice because you have to learn things the hard way. You have to learn things through making mistakes, through your imperfections. Those are opportunities to grow in holiness. You have to go through the doubt and the fear to learn how to have faith and hope and trust. There's no other way through God except for through the uncertainty.
My name is Geoffrey Keating.
My name is Anna Keating.
And I'm the proud owner of Keating Woodworks.
And I am the co-author of the Catholic Catalog and the proud co-owner of Keating Woodworks
and Sacred Spaces.
and Sacred Spaces.